everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List, and this week I don't really have a lot going on. I mean, I have like work stuff, but I try not to focus on that. So this is a fairly normal week, so I guess let's see what I can accomplish. So the only thing I read yesterday was I read about 100 pages of Battle of the Bookstores. And Battle of the Bookstores is sort of a You Got Mail take, but updated to obviously like contemporary times, which I was confused about how that would, like, the anonymity would be maintained. But there is a booksellers forum where the two main characters met online, and one of the rules is to keep it anonymous so that the booksellers can be honest about, an interaction with a particular author or publisher or what have you without backlash. And so the two main characters, Josie and Ryan, have maintained this even in their private DMs. And Josie is very adamant about yes, we have a great connection, we're great friends, I can be vulnerable with you, and it's because of that vulnerability that I don't want to know who you are, and I don't want you to know who I am, because she has a lot of insecurities about not living up to people's expectations. So she's a very interesting character, but the main plot outside of that is that Josie and Ryan, who are unknowingly friends online, are two managers of two bookstores on the same street in Boston. They're actually very close to one another. Josie manages a literary fiction bookstore, and then there's a coffee shop, and then Ryan manages a romance bookstore. And so obviously there's some clashing because they are just very different people. And the person who owns all three of these businesses, and pretty much the whole street, has decided that there's no point to having two bookstores, and he wants to merge them together, which is just not a great idea. But he doesn't want to pay for both managers, and so he pretty much sets up this competition that over the summer they're competing against each other, and whoever has the biggest profit gets to keep their job. So that sucks. And so they don't get along super well at the beginning because they are very different, and now they're competing. But there's this attraction chemistry between the two of them, which is really, really interesting. So, all that to say, yesterday I read about 100 pages of it at the end of the night, and I'm really enjoying it. I think now that I understand how the whole You Got Mail aspect is maintained, I think it makes a lot of sense. Where I am in the book, which is about halfway, so this is the one spoiler I'm gonna give, although it's not really a spoiler, especially if you've seen You Got Mail. Ryan has figured out that his friend, Bookshop Girl online, is Josie, but Josie has not figured it out, and so now he's trying to reconcile the two of them and also figure out how to tell Josie. So I'm very curious, obviously, because I read a lot of romance. It's probably going to happen in the third act. She's going to feel horribly betrayed. They're going to have a little bit of a disconnect for a bit. But I am really enjoying it, and I'm really glad because this isn't necessarily a book I would have picked up by myself, but I got it in the Jewish Joy book club box, and I'm really happy about it. I'm really enjoying it. And that's about it. The only other thing I read was I read another portion of the Torah yesterday. So that's what I've got. I don't know if I will be able to read more today. I'm hoping I will, but I just really don't know. But I will be starting an audiobook tomorrow. So yeah, that's what I've got. I've been trying really hard to be productive this morning, because I was supposed to be really productive yesterday, and instead I played Sims for 5 hours. So And it wasn't even what I meant to do, because I was waiting for footage to like import into my computer, and I'm like, oh, I'll get the new fairy pack that Sims has. And I did, and I thought it had downloaded by the time I opened the game, but apparently not. And so I didn't even play the expansion that I meant to. I ended up playing the island living expansion for 5 hours. And that that was interesting. I will try to resist playing Sims for at least a couple of days because I need to be productive. So I'm gonna go do that. I have finished reading another book. It always feels nice, even though obviously I expect to finish like 2 to 3 books a week, but it always feels nice when I do. Especially if it's a book that, you know, has taken me longer than a few days. Just because I know that I can read a book fairly quickly, although, you know, I typically have other things going on that makes it a little bit harder to finish a book within like 2 days. But I finished reading Battle of Bookstores. I know I talked about it yesterday. So I loved it. Like, I thought the pacing was really good. I thought the reveal was realistic, because I didn't want, well, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I think the reveal is really important. So I liked how the reveal happened. I thought it made a lot of sense for the characters. And I liked learning just about like bookselling. I think that's, you know, really awesome. And so I like being able to learn more about that world as well. So yeah, I thought it was really good. I gave it 5 stars. I highly recommend it. I think it's always nice to read like a new release because it came out, I think, the beginning of June, and just absolutely love it. So I'm very happy with it. I will definitely look into the author's other books because I like that writing style apparently. So yeah, I thought it was really good. And I read more of the Torah yesterday. That's really the only other update. I pretty much just read yesterday and like did other chores and stuff. So today on the way to work, I'm going to start listening to Luck of the Bodkins by P.G. Wodehouse. And then my next physical book is going to be The House of Detention, which is about a women's prison that was based in the Village in New York City, and how that sort of like shaped the Village as this like queer cultural location. So it'll be really interesting. I guess I'm just a little bit worried because I tend to read nonfiction slower, and that's something I really don't want to do right now. But yeah, it's an important book, so I will, hopefully it won't be too dry, so I will be able to read it like somewhat quickly, but just not as quick as I would read fiction. So that's about it. But yeah, I will check in tomorrow with more of my thoughts about the various books that I read. Okay, so here's the thing. Yesterday was going fine. It's a normal day. Normal work day. You know, I don't really want to work, but it was fine. And then 7 o'clock hit, and that just set off a series of events that ruined my night. I'm not going to go into all of it. Actually, I'm going to go chronologically. Okay, so on my way to work, I started listening to Luck of the Bodkins. I listened to about 3 chapters before I started getting sleepy. But I was, you know, pausing and doing talk-to-text notes, which are hilarious. Partially because of my own, like, observations, and partially because of what my phone heard. But Luck of the Bodkins is following Monty, who I have seen previously in a Blandings Castle story. I don't remember which one. I'll put the name somewhere. But he had been told that even though he is well off because he inherited money, he is told by the girl he wants to marry by her father that he needs to hold down a job for a year in order to be given permission to marry his daughter. So he's trying to do that. And he's in France looking for a job, I believe. And he receives a telegram from this girl he's engaged to, calling off the engagement with no explanation. Which, like, is something that I see in Wodehouse quite a bit. And it's always annoying because I'm like, it was probably some misunderstanding. Because I don't know the reason yet, but I'm assuming it was some sort of misunderstanding, or she heard something or thought she saw something and therefore she called off the engagement, because that's what's happened every other time I've seen this trope. And it just gets a little annoying, but I'm like, can you just include like a reason? Like, even if it doesn't change the story, because he still has to go and like talk to her and like clear up whatever it is. But just say something. Don't just be like, I'm done. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's annoying. So Monty decides to go and sail to America because he knows that this girl, Gertrude, her name, is sailing to America as part of like a field hockey group, which is interesting. I mean, field hockey is interesting, but it's interesting because I've never seen Wodehouse like really talk about like women playing sports. So that's interesting. And Monty does find her and she gives him the cold shoulder, which I'm like, of course she does. So there's that. I had been planning on listening to more on the drive home, but work ended badly. It wasn't bad. It just like, I was not in the mood after work to listen to more of Luck of the Bodkins, so I didn't. While I was at work, though, before 7 o'clock, before my day got bad, I did start reading The Women's House of Detention, which is a nonfiction book about the Women's House of Detention that was in Greenwich Village in New York City for, was it like 55-ish years? And the first chapter is going into prisons and the different reasons that prisons were originally a thing, and how no matter what the intention is, it goes downhill fairly quickly, and how in Greenwich Village, before it became this like Bohemia-esque place that it's known for now, it actually had a surprising amount of prisons. But so the first chapter is sort of about the history of women's prisons and Greenwich Village. So we haven't actually gotten to the Women's House of Detention yet and how that influenced queer culture and the village, which is what the book itself is about. It is interesting, it is nonfiction, and I am reading it slower than I would read fiction, which is fine and to be expected because I'm learning, but it just means that this book is going to take me a bit. So I think I read like maybe 30 pages during work where I could. And then 7 o'clock happened and my work day got upsetting. And then I drove home. Well, I was going to go grocery shopping, which I did. Without getting into all of it, because I've told this story to like 3 different people, and essentially on the way to the grocery store, I have to pop on the toll road. I was at a toll plaza and I was behind a semi who was behind a car that I assume was paying the toll when they were in not the right lane to do so, and so they were taking a little bit. And the semi decided that they were impatient and backed up into me, which they're not supposed to do. There's plenty of signs that say do not reverse. So yeah, I'm fine. It was jarring. My head did hit like the headrest. I'm fine. The seatbelt activated. I'm very surprised I don't have like a bruise like right here. Oh, this is like a little bit darker. It is very sore, like right here. That's really the only thing. My car, the front bumper is scratched, but there's no dent or anything. So had to deal with that and the just surprise of it all. And so I wasn't really willing to do anything else last night after I still went grocery shopping because I'm just like, I don't I don't know what else to do. So I still went grocery shopping, and then I came home, and then I just didn't do anything the rest of the night. And I woke up, and then I had a stress dream because of course I did. As I woke up, and I've just been trying to like feel better. That's what was going on. So I didn't read much yesterday. I haven't read anything today. I've just been working on my to-do list, and reading hasn't come up yet. So maybe tonight, because I have some meetings tonight for some things, maybe tonight after those and after I cook dinner, maybe I will pick up the Women's House of Detention and read some more. Okay. So I'll check in later. It is a gloomy day. I don't think I'm getting any light from being in front of the window, but I'm still here. Okay, so I haven't read that much, I'll be very honest. I did listen to more of Luck of the Bodkins. Not as much as I wanted to, though, because on the way to work, I think I got to like chapter 7. And Monty's issue with his fiance has been cleared up. But the fact that it happened so early in the book makes me feel that something else is going to go wrong. And I think in chapter 7, I found what is going to go wrong. There's something wrong with Monty's new stateroom. And I have a feeling his fiance Gertrude's going to find out about it and break the engagement without actually, like, listening to him, which is annoying. I'm trying to think of anything else that has happened. And I was going to listen to more on the way home, but so what happens? Okay, my phone is kind of, it's not, I wouldn't say it's old. I would say it's like 3 years, maybe 2, maybe, I'm not sure. But Friday after I got off of work, it was decently hot. I would say it's like 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And I got in my car, was driving home, was listening to the audiobook, and then like if I was taking notes, I'd pause it and go over to my notes app, do a talk to text note, and then switch back. And something about like my car being hot from the afternoon heat, and then having my phone plugged in, and then like my phone was overheating, so I stopped listening to it. So I only got through like I think a chapter and a half, so it really wasn't that much. But today should be better because it's gloomy, and so I should be fine listening to it both on the way to work and on the way home. I also continued reading The Women's House of Detention. I'm in chapter 4, I believe. It's so slow. It's really interesting. I like that obviously I'm getting information about prison systems in America, and then like how the Women's House of Detention specifically was, created and how it was operated. But I'm also getting like personal stories from some of the prior inmates. So it adds obviously a human element to it, which is very interesting. So I wouldn't say I'm enjoying it. Like a lot of it is very upsetting to like know what these women went through. But it is interesting. I am learning, but it's just so slow. I did get the audiobook with the thought of like maybe listening to it will make me go faster, but I just haven't listened to it yet. And plus like yesterday I was like hanging out with Chris, and I can't guarantee that I will not hang out with Chris today after I get off work because he has today off. Oh, we're actually going grocery shopping. So I can't promise how much I'll read today, but I don't have anything pressing to do tomorrow, so I think I might just sit down and try to finish it tomorrow, because that's the only way I'm gonna get it done. So yeah, I think that's gonna have to be my goal, is just like all the other like productivity stuff on my to-do list. I'm just gonna have to pause, just like I need to finish this book. So yeah, that's about it. Very quick update, just because I haven't read that much. Am I on chapter 4? I think I might be on chapter 3. That sucks. No. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It's in a different room. I can't look. I'm at either chapter 3 or chapter 4. Either way, I have like 200 pages left, so. Alright, well, we'll see what I can do. Once again, I have not really read that much. This week was not a good reading week. I don't know if I should be reading a nonfiction book and a Wodehouse book at the same time. I know I finished Battle of the Bookstores, but that was like it. So, let me see. I know I filmed yesterday. I have not read any more House of Detention since then. Although I believe I mentioned that I got the audiobook as well to see if that would help. I haven't started listening to it yet, but other than that, I listened to Luck at the Bodkins on the drive home. No, on the drive to work yesterday. I did not listen to more on the drive home because I was in a rush to make it home by a certain time, and there was traffic, and I just felt like I needed to concentrate more than like toggling between listening to the book and taking notes. Obviously talk to text notes, but I didn't on the way back. So I'm only like, I want to say like I'm 35% through, which is apparently where my dad is at now, because he's like, oh crap, Robin started it, and so he's like, I have to start it. So yeah. Oh, and I don't remember if I mentioned, I was getting a little annoyed at like the lack of communication. I don't mind miscommunication done well. I don't like lack of communication being the driving factor of the plot. And I can just see that like it's come up a couple times of like lack of communication, and I can just see it's gonna keep happening. And that's really gonna affect my enjoyment of the book. But I will say the narrator is very good. It's Jonathan Cecil, I believe, and he narrates a lot of Wodehouse books, and he's very good. I do like the narration. I think that's helping sort of make out for the lack of communication. But yeah, so there's that. That's really it. So I have a plan for next week's vlog. That like I'm really gonna try to buckle down on Monday, which is today, and just try to knock a book out. It might be a completely different book, but I'm really gonna try, because I really wanted to get caught up on my reading goal this month, and now I'm 3 books behind again. So that is my plan. If you made it this far, I'm very sorry it wasn't exciting, although I did get hit by a semi earlier this week. So maybe that is exciting. I don't know if that accounts for why I haven't read that much. Either way, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'm totally fine now. There is like, the spot on my chest does still hurt from the seatbelt, but other than that, I haven't noticed any side effects. And hopefully, I'm so surprised I don't have a bruise. I didn't get a bruise. Could have swore I would have. But whatever. Anyway, leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe, click notification bell, and hopefully next week's vlog will be more exciting. Okay, bye.